Oh boy, Arsenal fans, that was a tough one to swallow. My goodness. 1-1 Arsenal versus Chelsea. The London derby, one of the biggest games of the season, always, of course. And Arsenal had the lead with 4 minutes left. And the deflected goal from Pernille gets Chelsea the draw in the end. They could have snatched it in extra time as well. Oh my gosh, I'm still reeling from the end of that game. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Pitchside with Parker. Another Arsenal review. The ladies were on show this weekend. Of course, women's football weekend. It was a good weekend of games. Very exciting Manchester derby as well, 2-2 the other day. And so there's some big matchups at the top of the table. This one included with Arsenal versus Chelsea. And both of those big games ending in draws. So all in all, I would say that's a win on the weekend for Manchester United. Really, all these teams are in a very good position. It's shaping up to be incredibly tight, not only for the title, but for the Champions League spots this year as well. And this will feel like a game that I think both Arsenal and Chelsea feel like they could have won. Because for most of the game, I would say Chelsea looked more likely. Arsenal actually scored with their first shot on target of the game. And while Arsenal looked better than usual defensively, they didn't create a whole lot of chances until very late in the second half. I thought Beth Mead really sparked a lot for Arsenal in that second half. She was very good, and she ends up putting the goal in the 86th minute off of a blazing run from Miedema, who had been quiet most of the game, but you could see this little spark in her when Millie Bright went down and looked like she may have tweaked her knee or something, but she got like a wrap up on it. And you always know, if you're a player and you've played with that before, anytime you have a wrap on your leg, it's really tough to like fully sprint and fully move. You can kind of work your way around jogging, and kind of anything up to a sprint is fine, but it does affect you when you try to fully stride. And you could see it because on that play where Miedema sprinted up the left side, I mean, Millie Bright had no chance to catch her, and she knew that. She cut it across. Great run, great finish from Mead. And it looked like the winner for Arsenal. I mean, they did it all from keeping the ball in the corner, just kicking it up the field and everything. And then somehow, out of nowhere, Harder gets one run up the side. I think Wubben-Moy actually did a pretty good job defensively on that play. That was just terribly unlucky. I think she was trying to cross it, deflects off Wubben-Moy's leg, up and over Zinsberger. The commentators, I think, were really harsh on Zinsberger. Like, I've seen definitely at times she does struggle reading the ball in the air and stuff, but that type of play, like, I used to be a goalkeeper, and you just can't predict something like that. It's really, really difficult. She was, I'm sure, preparing for the cross and thinking, can I cut this cross out? Will I need to make a save on the end of the cross? And then before you know it, it's in the back of your net. The trajectory was so wacky and hard to read, and it looks bad on the replay, but trust me, that's just a difficult one. So I feel for Zinsberger on that, and it was just a gut punch. I mean, I was sitting there with just jaw dropped for another 30 seconds until all of a sudden the game started back, and both teams had more chances before the game ended. Sam Kerr in the 93rd minute just sprinted past the whole Arsenal back line, and I mean, you expect her to score from those, but just dinked it a little bit wide. And you have to give credit to Zinsberger on that one. If you're going to complain about her for the goal, Zinsberger did enough to make that shot hard on Sam Kerr, because the defense certainly didn't help out Zinsberger. They got toasted on that play. And that was a bit of an issue for Arsenal. I thought Wubben-Moy had a pretty bad game all in all. Williamson had some really bad mistakes. Their positioning was all over the place, and more times than not, I feel like they got bailed out by McCabe and Meyer, who was back in the lineup at right back. That's definitely an area of concern for Arsenal, especially in these big games when you're playing the likes of Chelsea, who just have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to attacking players. But in the end, I mean, if you looked at it from the beginning, and if you looked at it from the majority of the game, you would say that it was probably a good point for Arsenal. Definitely a better point for them than for Chelsea, especially coming off that loss to Manchester United, which was a very poor performance and pegged Arsenal back a little bit in terms of the league standings. A draw against Chelsea is enough right now. And because the top teams have not looked invincible, I don't think it, takes you out of the running in any way for the title. So Arsenal is still up there, obviously, and you can move on from that game. A little sore with the way that it ended, but in the end, I would say happy to get a point. If I had to name a player of the match, for me, I'd have to go with Kim Little. It's hard to deny it for Beth Mead, given the impact that she had at the end of the game, but let me tell you, I felt so much more confident with Kim Little in the middle of the park than Van de Donk, and people were a little critical of her being left out, but Little brought so much more certainty, and when she had the ball, she really worked Arsenal out of some really tough spots and kept the ball ticking, and just her presence as a captain as well. I felt that in the Arsenal performance today, and to me, that was the biggest difference from the team that played against Manchester United and the team that played today was Kim Little. So I was glad to see her back, and she'd get woman of the match for me. But yeah, that's all for this review. Thanks to everybody who watched. Big shout out to all the women's soccer fans out there and the Arsenal fans too. Like, y'all smash it in terms of support with all these videos, and I really appreciate the support, the comments, the feedback, everything. So keep that up, and I'll do my best to keep the videos coming. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.